Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Masterclass Episode 19. This is a show where we play, we strategize, and we explore the world of Hearthstone. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Tarn. Tarn, how's it going?
That is going fantastic. One might even say it is going fastic, as I like to say.
Yes, fastic!
I'm really excited. It's great to be back live on Monday. We've had many shows where we just couldn't record live with guests and whatnot, and those have all been awesome shows. And unfortunately, was out of town last week, unable to make a show, so I'm just really excited about tonight. I think we have some really fun new segments, some really fun favorite segments. I think we got a great show lined up.
Absolutely. As you guys can see here on the agenda, this week we're going to do a meta-list warm-up. We're going to do a brand new segment called Mulligan, where we discuss a very important and often overlooked element of Hearthstone, looking at the Watcher Druid and a Shaman deck. And then we're going to do one of our favorites, an oldie but goodie, some customs with analysis. And then we're going to finish it off with a really fun segment, the constructed draft. So without any further ado, let us warm it up, Tarn.
All right, let's warm it up. I am a bit cold, you know.
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I've been doing one of these. I mean, I've been sitting on the sideline, you know. I've been just cold for a few weeks now, so I'm ready to warm up.
I'm ready to warm up. We've both been on the sidelines, and I think everyone out there knows the feeling of getting back into a game after you've been away for a while, and it's important to find your groove. And this warm up will be a little bit different than your usual.
A little bit different.
A little bit different.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I see you've got new card backs. Does that mean you actually played with some friends, or did you just, you know, sit alone in your room by yourself with multiple accounts? I mean, what's going on there? What's going on?
Multiple card backs. Oh, the new card back. Yes, I met up with a group of people, all whom actually exist, real human beings, and got together and played Hearthstone, or not.
I'm sure that's exactly how that went down. Okay.
Yeah. And as you can tell, Tarn, I'm playing my favorite deck, the Shaman. It's a good one.
Oh.
This week, though, a little bit of a twist.
A wisp.
A little wisp.
A wisp.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Oh, yeah.
My. Are you actually warming it up? I think we might actually have a warm-up game on our hands.
We have a warm-up game. Oh, we've got a Murloc. Looky what we have here. With a power word shield. Oh, I like it. I like it.
Just
I mean,
Murloc,
you know, it's important when you're playing Shaman to not get rid of every card in the deck. Shaman's got some good cards.
Oh, okay. So you only kind of want to fake like you're playing a fun deck, and then, you know, hit me with the real stuff. I got you.
Yep, this is totally a serious, legit deck.
Don't worry about it. There's more where those came from.
Really? How about one of these?
Master, huh?
I call this deck my J.R.R. Tolkien deck.
Really? Well, let's not have any of those tokens. So. I think someone's injured.
And there they go. It's just me and Mr. Bitey, man. Just hanging out. Dragonling mechanic, little fire dragon. As Khaleesi would say, where are my dragons?
I think that's what everyone's wondering at this point. But I was a little low on cards, so let's make sure we get a few more cards going. All right, there we go.
Oh, a couple extra cards there. Nice.
Just a couple, you know.
Nice.
Gotta make sure we have some cards. Totem. Totems aren't allowed.
Totems are kind of like tokens. Sort of-ish.
Alright, what I would really like are more cards, so...
Okay,
let's go ahead and
fair
get
enough,
more cards.
fair enough. And you shall have them.
Yeah, it's not really enough card draw. You know, I would like another one. There we go.
You should take another card. You should definitely take another card. I'm okay with the number of cards I have.
Oh. I'm not a fan of those cards, though. That's not my favorite.
Little Frostwolf Warlord action here. A golden 7/7.
7/7. Well, I think we're gonna get a few cards. We'll take a look at your cards first.
Oh, this could be bad. This could be bad. Oh no! Oh no!
I don't know. I will display. You know.
Oh, thank God! It could have been so much worse.
I know, it could have been awesome.
Oh, I'm so glad you got the Wisp.
Well, I mean, the Wisp is too good, right? The Wisp is too good.
The Wisp is OP, man. You do not mess with the Wisp.
Man, that was an epic thought steal right there. A Wisp. That's right. We're okay. I'm not afraid of this Frostwolf. What? Murlocs, huh? Oh my God.
What? How would we like?
Master. No, I'm the one drawing cards here. That's not.
How would we like to do this? So, I think we want to.
I think you just want to leave everything alive. I think that's the smart way.
It's not bad.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, see, there's no good trade. There's no good trade. You don't worry about anything.
And trade. That's good.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
You're gonna have to get rid of that Cult Master.
Well, yeah, the Cult Master's a little bit of a pain. So I think I will. Which I think you probably have for the Frostwolf. I think that was baiting me, but that's okay. It's actually okay because we've got 4, 5, 6.
The Merc.
There we go. Get rid of that guy. And, yeah, just do it. Bam! 2 damage to the face. How do you like them apples?
That's pretty epic.
It's pretty good. I think that was pretty strong. Let's see that second Frostwolf. Oh shit! Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, what's going on? See what you did there? Well, that kind of sucks. Let's see here. Let's get some cards.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not enough.
Get a couple more cards.
Oh my lord. Get some cards.
I'll take some cards.
I know you'll take some cards. Oh man, I don't think I have it. I don't think I have it. I think that's yeah. Oh god. You better kill me quickly. You got a timer. 3. No. Oh no. No. Not allowed. Not allowed.
It's gonna get it in there.
Oh man. I hate you. I hate you so much right now. I'll see you guys next week. That's the show. Yeah.
Oh, that was a fun little Murloc Priest deck you had going there. Moving on to the next segment, we're going to be talking about mulliganing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you stated, I think mulliganing is a vastly important aspect to the game that is often overlooked. I mean, everyone agrees that every move in the game counts, and most people would agree that for most decks, the first 1 to 4 turns are often the most crucial because that really sets the tempo and the pace of the game and the control of the game for the later stages. But something that's kind of overlooked, often not discussed too much in detail, is how do we set up those early turns? How do we provide ourselves with the best chances to have those strong turns? And those all come with the decisions made during Mulligan. And you know, while there is no perfect answer for this, there's so many extraneous factors, such as your own play style, whether you like to play aggressively or defensively, and such as not knowing exactly the deck that your opponent is playing, or his or her play style as well. There's no perfect answer, but we'd like to try to go through some decks on a week-by-week basis and break down some general guidelines for some matchups, some of the more matchups that you can face when running into playing some of these meta decks. And that being said, I think the first deck that we're going to take a look at tonight is the Watcher Druid. Yeah, so we have a pretty standard Watcher Druid here, and we kind of pulled out some of the more common matchups, and those being the Warrior, the Hunter, the Rogue, and the Warlock, and what to look for.
And I will say one thing, one difference in this Watcher Druid, which is a Druid deck I play, as Tarn mentioned, one extra big game Hunter than you normally see, a Mark of the Wild, which you sometimes see, you sometimes don't, a Spellbreaker, which is not as common, a Black Knight is here or there, some people play some don't. Other than that, everything is incredibly standard, and even those changes are not that far out of the norm. If your deck's a little bit different, it typically will only modify these mulligan choices very slightly. So bear in mind this should work for most decks because you're generally looking to counter. Sometimes you'll have an extra counter because of a card I've put in, or you'll have one counter less. But with that in mind, the first matchup is the Warrior. So go ahead for that.
Right, absolutely. And I think for the most part, even the slight changes that are different in this deck are not even really reflected in these mulligan choices. Mulligan choices pretty much incorporate the base of the deck.
Yeah.
So the first matchup we wanted to look at is the Watcher Druid versus the Warrior, and what you might want to look for obtaining after your mulligan in this matchup. Now, this is an interesting matchup for the Watcher Druid in that the Warrior can get a strong upper hand if the game goes late. You can kind of keep on even footing through the early mid-game, but then the Warrior control power just really kicks in. And when you see a Warrior on ladder, you do kind of have to assume that it's Warrior control. There are some aggressive decks floating out there, but you really want to be prepared for Warrior control. Yep. So with that in mind, a strategy that you're looking for is actually to get aggressive in the early game, to actually put the Warrior on the back foot and keep his armor low and keep him reacting to your minions rather than you reacting to his minions.
Yeah, and on that note, when you're thinking about mulliganing, you want to ask yourself, as Tarn just did, what is the overall strategy, which is in this case to be aggressive, and then specifically, what do I want to do with a card? So what do I want out of this card? When you're looking at a mulligan and you see, Force of Nature, what do I intend to do with that? And when you realize you would never use that in the early game, probably maybe not even in the mid game unless you're really behind, you realize that that's the kind of card you don't want. So there's two important things to think about when you look at each card. Yeah.
Absolutely. So as we break down the Warrior deck, since our overall goal against the Warrior is to get aggressive, we will be looking like things like, of course, the Ancient Watcher. But instead of activating the Ancient Watcher with a Sun Fury Protector or a Defender of Argus in a defensive stance, we would be looking to activate it by silence through either a Keeper of the Grove or a Spellbreaker to push on the offense. Yep. So the Ancient Watcher is a great pull, but if you pull the Ancient Watcher, you want to look for combos that can let you get aggressive in this matchup. And then, of course, other great cards for that are the Harvest Golem, and of course the Chillwind Yeti, if you are combining it with something like an Innervate.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I think in all matchups, there are some key combos with this deck you almost always want to take. An Innervate Yeti, an Innervate Coin Yeti, from a defensive position, an Innervate Coin Druid of the Claw. Anytime you can get combos with Innervate and potentially the Coin with your 4 and your 5 drops, not your Spellbreaker, and typically not your Keeper of the Grove, but your Yeti and your Druid, you almost always take them. And then these are more specific to each matchup.
Absolutely, yeah. If your Mulligan comes up and you've got that Innervate Chillwind Yeti sitting in hand, well, then you're pretty much already sitting pretty. In the case of a Warrior, you have to be a little bit more concerned because the Warrior has ways to deal with it with Execute and like Cruel Taskmaster or Whirlwind. But it's kind of a risk you're willing to take, you know? Yeah. If you get that turn 2, 4, 5 minion on board against a Warrior, and it isn't dealt with, then you are really sitting in a nice position to put that pressure on early game that you're looking for.
Absolutely. And mixing it up here, talking about maybe the Hunter, it's a very oppositional to what we were just describing. It's very different.
Absolutely. In the case of the Hunter, the goal is now all about defense and all about taunts. You're wanting to minimize that early game damage while slowly building up stronger and stronger creatures over time. So here what you're looking for, again, is for that Ancient Watcher, but now instead you're looking to activate it with the cards like Sun Fury Protector, with the cards like Defender of Argus, and even keeping cards like Druid of the Claw, especially if you have an Innervate, is super strong, of course, versus that Hunter. You know, a turn 3 Druid of the Claw, really, really great there for 6 taunt.
Yeah.
And even cards like Mark of the Wild turning in, you know, a small thing like a Harvest Golem, if you happen to have one, into a mid-range taunter is really great here.
Yeah, it's interesting because taunt is so critical versus the Hunter, but it's also critical to have taunt and have a small number of larger health minions on board, because you don't want to have flooded the board with, let's say, 2 minions and then a defender and then another minion and a Sun Fury with all this taunt, because they'll draw into Unleash, giving them like 6 or 7 cards, tons of minions to attack with. So you want a small number of high health minions with taunt, and these cards, maybe taunting up 1 minion instead of 2, really seems to be the best strategy versus them.
Absolutely. I think in most cases 3 minions on board is really kind of the absolute max, but really that sweet spot is around 2 strongish minions if you can pull it off.
Yeah, I also don't like 1 minion because they often run that spell that kills a random minion.
Absolutely, we are seeing a lot more of the whatever that card is.
Exactly. Whatever
deadly
that
shot.
card.
Deadly shot. We're seeing a lot more deadly shot.
Yeah.
The meta is shifting a little bit more towards this mid-range Hunter.
Yeah.
However, when you see Hunter, you still have to be prepared for the aggro. The aggro can hit you at any time, at any level. Yeah. And that's what this Mulligan is going to set you up to be prepared for. If it does happen to be a mid-range Hunter, you're still actually going to be in a great spot with some nice beefy minions in the mid-game.
Nice job, Tarn. Passed my test. You named the card. So
there we go.
Versus the rogue, and there are 2 types of rogues we see now. It's sort of there's even the Malagos rogue, but in general, the mid-range rogue and the Miracle rogue, both tend to want a similar-ish type of mulligan. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have to be a little bit more conscious of the possibility of a Miracle rogue. And in doing so, we actually end up with a similar mulligan anyway, so it works out. But kind of your goal is to have some taunts up in the mid-game to prevent those huge bursts that the Miracle rogue can do. Yep. So ultimately, you're going to be wanting to get some solid taunts going, but it isn't as crucial as getting it right away as with the case as the Hunter. So in this case, you don't see something like keeping a Druid of the Claw. You see ourselves allowing room to keep a little bit more minions, a little bit more normal minions before we get those taunts rolling. Things like Harvest Golem, Chillwind Yeti. But of course, we still would like to activate that Ancient Watcher in defensive posture if we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who aren't familiar with a Miracle Rogue, I'm sure many of you are, it's a rogue that uses a lot of low-cost spells and preparation in combination with the gadgets and Auctioneer, as well as giving his minion stealth. And the mid-range rogue tends to go more with the 3 to 6 cost minions, and has Argent commanders and such in there as well.
Absolutely, and since it's a rogue, you don't really have to worry about as much with the hunter about flooding the board. Mm-hmm. So if you get those early minions, Harvest Golems, you can lay them out freely before you work towards that taunt.
And a rogue is another great example where if you do get those super powerful combos, Innervate Yeti, Innervate Druid of the Claw, any combination like that, go for it. Really go for it. Be careful with your low health minions, big game hunters, anything that has like 3 or less health. In particular, the Spellbreaker is very weak early game versus a rogue. It's got 3 health. It'll die to pretty much anything. It's a techie card. You want to save it to silence a gadgets in late game. If you're playing it early game, you're not going to get the value, so you're going to want to be able to buff it very quickly with a Defender of Argus, or be happy to trade it with what's on the board, because it's going to go down.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One of the most hated matchups. Were you done with the rogue?
No, we're good.
Okay. One of the most hated matchups is the Zoo Warlock. Personally, I enjoy it now that I play it, but I know how difficult it is. And every time I run up against it, it's frustrating. But having played the matchup, it really helps to get a good understanding of how to deal with it. And this is how you deal with it, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Zoo Warlock is pretty tough to deal with, but this Watcher Druid does have the utility to do so. Again, looking to ideally set up the Ancient Watcher in strong defensive posture with Sun Fury Protectors, Defenders of Argus.
Yeah.
However, also, again, unlike the Hunter, we can get more minions on board. And that allows a few more options. Things like Keeper of the Grove are really nice because they can almost always force a 2-for-1. They can come down and instantly pick off something like a Knife Juggler, instantly pick off something like a Direwolf Alpha, and then still be on the board to trade some more. And then, of course, one thing to always keep in mind is keeping a swipe in the back pocket for kind of, that turn 5, turn 6 range in there, even as early as turn 4 if need be.
Yeah.
But, swipe is really going to help to turn the balance of power in that mid-game and allow you to just work on getting then your stronger minions out, your Chillwind Yetis and your Druids of the Claw after you kind of clear the board with swipe.
Yeah, and that's why we've got them highlighted down here, sort of separated from the rest of the deck. You don't want the Druid of the Claw or the Yeti in your opening hand unless you have an Innervate or a way to get it on the board fast. Another common mistake, other than trying to get big minions out early when you don't have the ability to because you'll just get run down, is keeping Blood Mage Swipe. A sick combo, but at 6 cost without an Innervate or waiting till turn 6, you're going to be pretty much dead by the time that comes out. And yeah, you might clear the board. You might even not clear the board if they have out some really scary stuff or have buff their minions' health. Doom Guard certainly is not going to die to this. You really got to be careful of keeping a Blood Mage Swipe combo early unless you can activate it and unless you actually see a couple other cards you got that will carry you through the first couple turns.
Right, absolutely. As tempting as Blood Mage is, even with something like a Blood Mage Wrath, you figure, oh, I'm killing something for 2 damage and getting a card.
Yeah.
But you're still only leaving something like a 1-1 on the board. Well, not something. You are leaving just a 1-1 on the board. And that's not going to put enough backbone for the rest of the upcoming turns to swing it in your favor. So something like the Blood Mage Swipe, you can go ahead and feel free to keep the swipe, and if you draw into the Blood Mage right around turn 6, turn 7, well then perfect.
Yep.
But mulliganing specifically for it, not necessarily the best idea. You're going to leave yourself pretty weak.
I tend to feel more comfortable with Blood Mage Wrath if I've got the coin, if I've got an extra card, basically, because then you have 2 more cards in the coin, meaning 3. So if you just have, if you're going first, you only have 3 cards total. With Wrath and Blood Mage being your only 2 cards, you're going to be in a you could get into deep trouble really quickly. It's really dependent on the RNG.
Absolutely. And since we're wanting to just kind of maximize our chances of getting the cards we would really like, I'd say you pretty much look to throw that Blood Mage back when you see him.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes for a lot of matchups, actually, including the Shaman, which is, in fact, the next mulligan we're going to do. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out to us on this YouTube channel or at the base of this article on iHeartU. Leave your comments or questions. And certainly there are other matchups, and we're happy to talk about them as well in the future. These are the main matchups you see. Other matchups, like Druid versus Druid, tends to kind of be similar to the Druid versus Warrior. A couple small changes, but it's similar in that you're trying to get aggressive early. You know that the late game is going to be tricky because they've got a lot of control and possibly big minions. So, but you also do have the big game hunters to deal with it. But it tends to be a similar type of mulligan.
Absolutely. In the mirror matchup, Druid versus Druid, I would play it pretty similar to the Warrior. Get aggressive, force your opponent's Druid to react to you. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the other matchups that aren't listed here, Priest, Mage, and Paladin. You can pretty well play those pretty standard. Towards a Priest, of course, you would love to lean towards things like Chillwind Yeti and your Druid of the Claw, because that 4 attack really messes up the Priest. But for Paladin and for Mage and for Shaman, you can pretty well broaden your mulligan choices to kind of include all of these. There really isn't as much of a need to be super specific. So you can look kind of for anything, your Harvest Golems, your Ancient Walkers activated offensively or defensively in those matchups work great.
Which tends to fall under the general mulligan rules when you're not talking about one class and one matchup. The general mulligan rule is you throw away everything above 5 mana, and you tend to throw away 4 mana cards unless you have the coin or a good 1, 2, 3 turn, maybe, or 2, 3 turn. Then you might want to keep the 4. But otherwise, you tend to throw away the 4 and the 5 cost cards, just in general in Hearthstone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think the next class we're going to look at is the Shaman, and kind of one of the variations of one of your Shaman decks. And I know you are very familiar with it, so I'll go ahead and let you run us through the breakdown of these matchups.
Yeah, so I will say that as much as I love the Druid, the Shaman is near and dear to my heart, and so we couldn't have a new segment without touching on the Shaman. And this is a Shaman Control. It's got a little bit of extra control to deal with aggression like Warlock and like Hunter. And it also has some finishing power. The Fork Lightning, self-explanatory, really trying to deal with the amount of aggression being put on by the meta and by what you're seeing out there today. Argent Squire also is incredible, as it almost always trades as a 2-for-1 and can be buffed up with a lot of things in Shaman's arsenal, killing something and then leaving itself on board to be buffed up again. Then you've got Harvest Golem and two Unbound Elementals are good 3 drops. Harvest Golem, really annoying because once you kill it, something else comes out unless you've silenced it. Unbound's important because it can be buffed up, so it usually draws removal. Defender of Argus we'll talk about in the Hunter matchup. It's a critical card. Karn is amazing as a 6-drop 4/5 that turns into a 4/5. He's like a big daddy Harvest Golem. And the Fire Elemental is probably one of the best cards in the game, and Alakir is really strong as a finisher with Rockbiter. So the key to Shaman is being, like the Druid, being defensive against aggressive decks and aggressive against defensive decks. Now this deck, I will be honest, it doesn't get as aggressive as it should, but there's so much aggression out there to try to match a Hunter or a Zulok with a Shaman with a Bloodlust deck. You're not going to win. They've got more tools. The Warlock can draw cards via its hero power. The Shaman's just the Shaman totems just don't match up. So you really want to get a little bit more control-y, in my opinion, in this meta. So let's start out, since I just was talking about it, the Warlock deck, which is far onto the right of the screen, a Shaman versus Warlock. So in that matchup, you're really going to want a Fork Lightning or a Lightning Bolt. Those are the two most important, excuse me, a Fork Lightning or a Lightning Storm. Those are the two most important cards in your deck. AoE removal, without it, it's almost impossible to win. With this deck, I have actually won a few games versus aggro decks without any AoE, but I got really lucky, made really good trades, certainly played as well as I could have. But really, you do need that AoE to secure a victory or to ensure it most of the time. Other really good removal cards are Lightning Bolt. The Stormforge Axe allows 3 hits. The Argent Squire is a great 1-drop. With Overload, it's really critical to have to fill those mana gaps with an Argent Squire. And then the Rockbiter is a great card for buffing things up. And you're not really looking for a finishing blow with an Alakir versus the Warlock. You're really more looking to stay alive. And while you don't want to take the damage from the Rockbiter as much, it's important to buff your minions or sometimes to take that hit to the face or to take a minion out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really important point to note is you have a big toolkit for early removal here, and so the Warlock is one matchup that's pretty much going to utilize that entire toolkit. You're really just looking to get yourself into the mid game and then hopefully into the late game. But you know, things like your Lightning Storm, your Argent Squire can become super deadly if you buff it with a Rockbiter, allowing it to get a better 2-for-1 trade. And I think it's, you know, it plays really nicely there if you just use that removal toolkit to its full effect in this matchup.
Yeah, and I'd say of all the matchups, the most critical mulligan is versus the Warlock. It's so polarizing. You really need to get those good cards, and that's why we've separated out those 3 cards on the lower portion: the Feral Spirit, the Harvest Golem, and the Unbound. Those are all good cards if you have AoE. If you've got Lightning Storm or Fork Lightning, and you get a Feral Spirit or a Harvest Golem or an Unbound, you can get some killer turns out there. I'll give you a good example of my favorite turn. Whenever I get a turn 1 or turn 2 Argent Squire or a Harvest Golem on turn 3, and then I get turn 4 Feral Spirit and then turn 5 Lightning Storm, you almost always win. So I'll explain that a little bit more clearly. So on turn 2 and 3, you're going to want to play cards that don't have Overload. You can play a Lightning Bolt or a 1 Overload card on turn 3, but then on turn 4, you need to play that Feral. And the reason it's on turn 4, not turn 3, is you need to watch your Overload. If you play a Feral on turn 3, on turn 4 you'll only have 2 mana, preventing you from casting your 3-cost spells or minions. If you play a Feral Spirit on turn 4, on turn 5 you'll have 2 Overload, leaving you with 3 mana. That 3 mana on a turn 5 Lightning Storm, when you've already had their minions damaged by your taunted Ferals, it almost always completely wipes the board. So just to reiterate, if you've got good removal, it's okay to keep 1 or 2 of these 3-cost cards. But if you don't, if you have no Lightning Storm, if you have no Fork Lightning, a Feral Spirit will kill you, because you get out 2/2/3s and you're overloaded next turn, so you can't really play much at all. And they'll get through those 2/3s very quickly. You'll be overloaded. They'll have more on the board. Maybe they've even used a Soulfire to clean it out. And you think you're surviving, but you're not. You're actually really behind.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point to make. As awesome as those cards are, you've got to prioritize that AoE removal. If you got the AoE removal, then those cards are just icing on the cake right there.
Absolutely. So let's circle back to the Warrior control matchup. You know, there are some cards in the Warrior matchup that are critical to deal with. What do you think is one of the some of the critical card matchups that you want to be watching out for here?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the inclusion of the Earthshock because it is allowing you to shut the engine down of the Control Warrior early on. Things like the Armor Smith, things like the Acolyte of Pain, things like Frothering Berserkers. If you can shut those down early game and not let them draw them too many cards, not let them give them too many armor, and not let them obviously get a huge early game minion on in the case of the Frothing Berserker, you're looking in a really good position, while at the same time looking to get a little bit of your own aggression with things like Harvest Golem, Unbound Elemental, and Flame Tongue Totem to really put the pressure on at the same time, not let them to armor up and start hitting them, start working them down. Because again, in the super, super late game situation, that's when the control player is going to shine.
Absolutely. Yeah, super late game, even with 2 hexes, is really hard to deal with. A version of this deck running either a Black Knight or maybe 2 big game hunters or 1 big game hunter would be more able to deal with it. But really what you're looking to do with this deck is to get out in front and push. Keep their shields low. The one problem, though, is that regardless, they tend to keep a shield. What is it? Shield block? No, shield block. But what's the card for 3 mana that gives them +5 shield and draws a card?
That is shield block.
Shield block. Okay. They tend to keep a shield block and then a shield slam, allowing them at any point to get rid of your fire elemental. But it is important that you limit their ability to do that. They will get that out on 1, maybe 2. But if you can lock it down to 1, you actually will take a big advantage. And certainly a buffed Unbound forcing something like that out is a big win.
Absolutely, and at least you're forcing the shield block. If they just already have flat out enough armor through their armor smiths and hero ability, then that's getting really dicey if they don't even have to shield block to pick off something like a fire elemental in the mid to late game.
Argent Squire, I think just to note, you've got a 1-cost minion. You always want this minion. The one case you might not want it is a hunter, but we'll talk about why you do keep it. But ultimately, it's a somewhat good in the late game. The key here is that you want to keep it because it loses value after turn 3 or turn 4 dramatically.
Absolutely. I think the Argent Squire in this deck does keep its value a little bit longer in the early games, as you mentioned earlier with the overload mechanics. You know, you overload yourself on turn 2, you can still play the Squire on turn 3, which is really nice. However, yeah, like you said, past those early turns, it's just losing value. So that is why you do see the Squire in all of these matchups.
Yeah, forget about AoE here. Doesn't matter. You know, your weapons are good. Unbounds, Harvest Golems, these are your ticket. These are your only man.
Absolutely. And the last note on that is Feral Spirits is setting yourself up in a defensive posture where, as we just stated, the goal is to shut them down and get aggressive. So you don't want to be using your overload straight up for defense in this matchup. Absolutely.
All right, the Hunter. So for those of you out there who have faced the Hunter, yep, I know. I'm sorry. It's so brutal. It's so brutal. It is by far the worst matchup for the Shaman and by far the best matchup for the Hunter. Now, it is absolutely possible to take games off Hunters, especially the more mid to late game Hunters, not the early aggressive Leper Gnome Hunters. But it's even possible to take games off of them. I have a bunch of hunter kill porn on my YouTube because it's so frustrating dealing with them. But when you get those guys and you take them out, it just feels so good. So take a look at some of those videos. The key here to dealing with the Hunter is realizing where you're weak and where they're strong. You do not have the ability to heal. And there are versions of this deck I have had that are specifically anti-Hunter, which run like 2 Oozes, 2 Earthen Ring Farseers, 2 Senjin Shield Masters, all of which actually dramatically increase your chance of beating a Hunter, but really skew your deck as really being a anti-Hunter only deck, which you might not want to play. But if you do, you can check out some of my videos with strictly anti-Hunter decks. So along with in a normal deck, the key cards to dealing with the Hunter are actually Feral Spirit and Defender of Argus. They both give taunt, right? So that's pretty obvious. But what's more important is that they fill the board with multiple taunts. There is nothing worse than having like a gigantic minion, like an Earth Elemental, get killed by Hunter's Mark. You know, it costs you 3 overload, 5 mana. He uses a 1/1 to get rid of it. I mean, there's nothing worse than that feeling. It's why I don't run that card. Even a Senjin Shield Master, which is a strong 3/5, can be Hunter's Marked, allowing him to push right to your face for damage. So that's why you need the Feral Spirits. They're the most critical card in the game for a Shaman versus a Hunter. So then the other card, the Defender of Argus, I like to think of this card as turning a disadvantage into an advantage. What's the hardest thing you deal with as a shaman? How do I play a totem? I can't play totems. It's going to fill the board up with useless crap that he can then unleash into. Well, I can't do that. I can't use my hero power. So now I have no 2-cost minions other than the Blood Mage. And I'm not going to play the Flame Tongue because it doesn't do much but buff for attack. You have no 2-mana uses. And also, it's Shaman Strength that's these totems typically. So you're basically in a really bad spot. Defender of Argus turns that disadvantage into an advantage. It turns most totems into a 1/3 with taunt, and it can turn 2 totems into 2 1/3s with taunt. Now, the best thing about it is the taunt, but the little hidden advantage is it gives it 1 attack, allowing you to choose to kill off your totems when you need to. When they have no attack, they're just staying there on the board hurting you, or potentially waiting out for an unleash to let them draw new cards, draw additional cards, and put additional minions on the board to beat your face with. So it's really important.
Absolutely. I think that is a very, very crucial statement that you just mentioned, and that is you get to choose when to get rid of your minions. You get to choose, okay, I would like to get rid of a totem now because I have a fire elemental coming down, rather than I got to play this fire elemental, but now I'm going to have 3 minions on board instead of 2, or now I'm going to have 2 minions on board instead of 1. Yeah. So the fact that you can actually choose if you want to keep a totem or not is very, very strong, and I think crucial in this matchup. Otherwise, you're just playing into that Unleash the Hounds all day, and that can be super painful.
Yeah. With a totem, which you're now not afraid to play, a spell power totem, you can get rid of 2 health minions that are charging at your face. You can get rid of just a variety of things. Lightning Bolt certainly is a critical removal spell. The last card in the initial grouping is the Argent Squire. Be wary of this card. It only does 1 attack, so it's not really worth putting out there for damage, but it's got a Divine Shield. Where I like to have this card is when I've got out one totem and I've got 5 mana. You drop the Squire, you drop the Defender of Argus, and now you have 2 taunts, 1 with Divine Shield. That's a big pain in the butt. Really painful to deal with. And it's a 2/2, so it'll kill almost anything that a hunter's throwing at you in the mid-game, early to mid-game.
Absolutely. And of course, if you are running into just the straight, pure aggro hunter, Argent Squire turn 1 is fantastic because you're going to be able to pick off 2 minions with that 1/1, because those minions almost always are things like Bluegill, things like Leper Gnome, things like Wolf Rider that only have 1 point of defense. So being able to get a 2-for-1 with a 1-cost minion in that situation is also great.
Yeah, and you're preventing up to as much as 3 to 4 damage from your face. So that's really critical. It is important to kind of try to determine, and it's hard on turn 1, but to sort of get a sense of when you want to play it, because it's never bad to play it on turn 1, but if you're playing against someone who's not going at your face the first 2 or 3 turns, you do want to generally play it with a defender.
Absolutely.
Harvest Golem. So there's a little caveat with the Harvest Golem, and that is to say it's a great card when you have the coin. And the reason is because you can get it out on turn 2. You can attack into something, clearing it or killing it and leaving your Harvest Golem on board. Or even if your Harvest Golem dies, you'll have the damaged Golem come up. And that's fine early game. But late game, you don't really want extra minions on board. So while it waits till it dies to come back on board, you're still leaving your board heavy.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Yeah, if you have the coin and the Harvest Golem, it's a great turn 2 play. Yeah. Otherwise, there's better options to look for in the Feral Spirit and the Defender of Argus.
Yeah, and it's not even that Harvest is bad on turn 3. It's that nothing is as good as Feral and Defender. You just need them or you're going to die. Other than Warlock Zoo, it's the most polarized matchup where you just need to get those cards or you lose. Rogue. So sometimes somebody goes rogue and you need to deal with it. I think the thing to keep in mind versus rogue is you're not going to face early aggression, early pressure the way you will versus a hunter and a warlock, and you're not going to face late game fatties the way you would versus a warrior or a druid, or maybe even a shaman playing like Ragnaros. So you really want to shore up the mid game. A weapon like a Stormforge helps you. Harvest Golems and Unbounds, especially when they're buffed, help you. Argent Squire, always good. And your standard removal, Rockbiter, Lightning Bolt, Earth Shock.
Yeah, this one seems pretty straightforward. Yeah, you don't need to rush to the defensive position. You don't need to rush to be super aggressive, but having cards like Unbound, Harvest Golem that could perhaps force out some early uses of Backstab, early uses of Eviscerate is actually pretty good in your favor as you work towards ultimately being able to shut down either the mid-range minions or the miracle situation with your silences.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Miracle situation and silences. They're really good against them, but also what you really want is to not have those miracle buffed minions hit you. So towards turn 4, 5, 6, really 5, 6, 7, you need to have taunt on the board. At least one minion, if not two.
Absolutely, but I think it is crucial to notice that we are not actually specifically mulliganing for taunt here.
Correct.
We're allowing ourselves to have those extra turns to draw into them, whereas versus the hunter, need to get it right away.
Yeah, you're not getting hit to the face constantly in the early game versus the rogue, and so that's why you're more worried about putting pressure on them, making good trades, getting good value, and then you're gonna think about taunt, and you'll have at least 4 turns to draw into it. It's a good way to think about things like Chillwind Yeti with the Druid, like in the matchups where you want that card and you're not innovating into it, similar with the Drake or the Defender of Argus or the Gadget Zen in this game. You have time to draw into them when you're not playing them early.
Absolutely, and speaking of the Druid, I see one thing that jumps out right away on this list moving towards the Druid matchup that we actually don't see in any other matchup is the Hex. So I think that's probably going to be a key card that you're going to want to talk about here.
Absolutely. No, I'll let you, because you hit the nail on the head.
Well, the Hex is definitely key in this matchup, as I was just alluding to. You've got to protect yourself. As we just went through with the Druid's strength are those early Innervate Druid of the Claw, early Innervate Chillwind Yetis, and really Hex is your only tool to be able to deal with it. So,
Feral Spirit, but Hex for sure.
Yeah, Feral Spirit's okay, but Hex is the only thing that's going to just straight up deal with that, and you pretty much have to deal with it. Unfortunately, otherwise, it's gonna get a 2-for-1, if not a 3-for-1 against your early minions, and really put you on the back foot.
Yeah.
But moving past Hex, what other cards are you looking for in this matchup?
I mean, that's not to discount that you couldn't get an Argent Squire and then somehow bring out a Flame Tongue and a Rock Biter. Like, there are ways, but it costs a lot of cards. It's very tricky. It's like 2 and 3 card combos. And ultimately, as you said, Hex, it's great to deal with those early Innervate, Coin, Yetis, because you're getting rid of 3 cards, the Innervate, the Coin, and the Yeti. And also, Hex is not a bad card to have in your hand because you're not being pushed with an incredible amount of aggression early game. So if you get a slightly slower start as opposed to what you might get versus a Hunter, a Rogue, a Warlock, you're going to be fine.
Absolutely. It's kind of just one of those, you got to be prepared. You got to be prepared for the trip.
We're Boy Scouting it, right? Hex, it's the exactly. Boy Scout Hex.
Exactly.
Earth Shock's a great card dealing with Shaman because a lot of times they have Mana Tide totems in the days of Nat Pagal. You don't want to necessarily kill it, but you cannot allow it to draw more than 1 card. You will lose a game flat out right there. Argent Squire, as we said, always good, buffing it, killing things. The rest of the cards are pretty straightforward.
It's fine. It's not,
it's not ideal.
Necessarily your best. I would probably look for a Harvest Golem or an Unbound. But an early Feral Spirit is still fairly strong in that matchup.
Yeah, so I'm getting so into Shaman. I'm looking at all these Shamans on my screen.
I was just going to say, we saved it for last. I know you've been having a lot of fun in the Shaman vs. Shaman mirror.
Yeah.
And I think you've got some really good tips as to how to deal with this mirror and really put yourself on a strong footing.
I do love the Shaman, and I really feel like it's a fun matchup. I love playing it. My win rate's really strong versus it. I think it's mostly because how much I play the matchup, how much I love it, and how familiar I am with the strengths of the deck. And that's what we're trying to do here, is familiarize you with the strengths of all of your counters, because that's ultimately how you win. So I'm going to start with the card you don't see here because I was already kind of talking about it. The Feral Spirit. Great card in general. Why not versus Shaman? Shaman's going to have removal. They're going to have Storm. They're going to even have Lightning Bolt, Stormforge Axes. They might even have a Fork Lightning, an Earth Shock to silence it. They have ways of dealing with Feral Spirit very easily. You do not want to be overloaded and have all your minions removed. It's bad news. You really want this like mid to late game when the overload doesn't hurt you and when you need a burst of a couple minions or maybe some protection from dying. Earth Shock is an incredible card, as we talked about mistakenly when we were on the Druid track, as dealing with Mana Tide Totem and with a potential other sort of like Unbound Elementals or Harvest Golems. Stormforge Axe. Okay, so that's a great card. You can get rid of 3 totems, taunt or otherwise, for virtually no damage. The other thing is it's actually just really good to pair with an Argent Squire because that's 3 damage you're putting onto something. You can pair it with an Earth Shock, with a Lightning Bolt. You can hit, you can Lightning Bolt their Harvest Golem and then use your axe to get rid of the damaged Golem. You can get rid of an Unbound Elemental before it becomes scary and you don't have to use your Hex on it. You do not want to use your Hexes early versus Shaman. You don't want to use your Hexes early versus anyone except for like a Druid that innervates, a Warlock that's going crazy, or like a Murloc, maybe a Hunter that puts out something super scary. You want to save those Hexes for late game most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the key lies in your tech removal, your Earth Shocks, your Lightning Bolts, and your Axe. You're really kind of just frustrating the Shaman in the early game while you're setting yourself up for a strong mid to late game push.
Yeah, you kind of sometimes want to force them when you have a Lightning Storm into bringing out Feral Spirits, and then you drop a Blood Mage Storm and you clear like 3 or 4 minions, or you bring out your Harvest Golem, they get rid of it, but then you've got the damaged Golem. The Unbound gets buffed because you bring it out on turn 4, so you bring out the Unbound and you Lightning Bolt something, making your Unbound like a 3/5. I mean, there are a lot of great combos that you can do. And versus Shaman, because you're not being pressured so crazy early game, you have the ability to do that stuff.
Absolutely.
Another really important and fun thing to think about with Shaman is transitioning to mid and late game, because they're going to have Fire Elementals out. They're going to have possibly Alakir, your Gadgetzins, Karns. They're going to have scary stuff, so you want to save those Hexes. But you also want to think carefully about your removal, because for the sort of the newer players, sometimes people tend to use damage dealing spells on a hero. Like you might hit another hero with your Lightning Bolt. You don't want to do that. You want to save these damage dealing spells, save the axe. You never want to hit the hero till you can get him to lethal with this. You want to save all that for clearing the board efficiently, making it hard, frustrate them. Do what you can to deal with that damage and to hurt them and to the minions and get board control.
Absolutely. Awesome. I think that pretty well covers all the matchups, all the ones that we wanted to talk about, both Shaman and Druid. I think this is a lot of fun. I know I've learned a lot in the process. Yeah. So I think this segment's going to be a lot of fun, and you guys let us know what classes you'd want to see next. We will be, of course, going through all the popular decks as we progress, but we can always prioritize if there are some requests. Go ahead and leave us comment on the video when it's posted.
Absolutely. Happy to. With our next segment, we're going to do the constructed draft. Some of you have watched our show, are familiar with it. For those of you who have not, we do a draft, but with a constructed deck. So Tarn and I pick a class, and we each play that class, and we open up the collection manager, and we go through, and let's say if we're playing Mage, and Tarn picks first, and he picks a Mana Worm, then I cannot pick that Mana Worm. He's locked me out of it. So we draft decks with the same hero, and then we play against each other. It's a lot of fun, and for those of you who are familiar with it, you know that 2 of the decks we've not played yet are the Warlock and the Rogue, so we'll be playing those tonight.
Absolutely, and of course the only way to fairly decide is with the coin of RNG. Absolutely. And Gul'dan called me earlier tonight. He called heads, So Warlock will be heads and Rogue will be tails, and so we'll go ahead and see what we get here. Looks like heads.
All right.
Looks like it's going to be Warlock, Warlock, Warlock all day, every day.
All right, Warlock it is.
Warlock.
It's been a while since we've done this. Don't forget that your name goes in here.
Oh yeah, my name, not just a random name. There we go. Thanks for the heads up. I was, putting something random there.
Yeah.
Cool. And so, I mean, as always,
something random. Is that what you're
as always, you have the honors in calling the coin for picking first, because we have to decide that.
Okay.
Who gets to pick first.
All right, go ahead, flip it.
Well, what are you going to call it after I flip it?
I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it in the air.
Oh God, I don't trust you, man.
Okay, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Tails.
Trolled.
Oh, Tails! Who's trolled now, baby? Who's trolled now?
All right. You got it.
Okay. Oh my God. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? 2 Doom Guards.
Oh God, what are you doing? You going zoo on me?
I'm going Doom Guards. They're too strong not to pick.
2 Soulfire.
Yeah, there you go. 2 Flame Imps.
Oh God. All right. We're gonna go with. We're gonna try to have some fun with this. Before we get to the fun, we're gonna just go with 2 Voidwalkers.
Fair enough. All right, you are gonna have some fun with this. So, I think we'll go with. Oops. I think we'll go with 2 Mortal Coils.
Okay. I'm gonna go with 2 Void Terrors.
Void Terrors. Destroy the minions on either side of this minion and gain their health. Love it. I'm gonna go with 2 Siphon Souls in that case.
Oh, come on, man. Don't trust those. All right, we're going with
hard counter.
We're going with 2 Power Overwhelmings.
Okay. Let's go Blood Imp.
Blood Imp, huh? Okay. We're gonna go with a couple Hellfires.
Yeah, you are. I think in this case, 2 Demon Fires.
Demon Fire, huh? You jerk. All right, that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Ha!
We are going to go with. I want to go crazy. I don't know if I want to go that crazy. But we are going to go with 2 Dread Infernals.
You are going crazy.
We're getting a little crazy. I know, right? I actually have to pay the full 6 mana for Draxus's hero power. Oh, snap.
Ridiculous. I guess we're going with 2 Twisting Nethers.
Ooh, destroying all minions. Destroying all minions. Okay. I'm going to go with 2 Harvest Golems.
That's nice. I'm going to go with Sense Demons.
Sense Demons? Oh my god. Did not expect that. Did not see that coming. That's actually pretty strong. All right, we are going to run. What are we going to run? We're going to run a couple Armani Berserkers.
All right, getting into the middle of the deck. I will go with two Loot Hoarders.
Two Loot Hoarders. Not bad. Not bad. I am going to go with a couple of Twilight Drakes.
Look at you. I will go with two Knife Jugglers.
Two Knife Jugglers, okay. We're going to go with two Senjin Shieldmasters.
Two Molten Giants.
Molten Giants. Molten Giant. Oh, you do have the straight up kill cards. Uh-oh. It's okay.
I don't want you getting those, to be honest.
I'm gonna go with Leroy Jenkins.
Wow.
That's right. Early pick, Leroy.
Then I will go with I think we need some really early stuff. Two Argent Squires.
Two Argent Squires, okay. Okay. With two Shattered Sun Clerics.
Dun dun dun. I will go with two of the very fun and very situational, but always interesting. If I can find them. Alright, I'm just going to type it in. Blood Knight.
Two Blood Knights. Oh, look at you working off of your Argent Squire. Alright. We're going to go a little out of left field and go with two Master Swordsmiths.
Master Swordsmiths are nice. I will go with two Scarlet Crusaders.
Oh, okay, okay. We're getting there. God, I'm giving you so many. That's okay, though, because we're going to get the two Raging Worgens.
It'll be interesting. One Sunwalker.
One Sunwalker?
Yep.
Look at you breaking the rules.
No, I can pick one if I want.
So does it mean I can pick the other one?
No.
What? Might as well just pick one out of every card. Both cards aren't used, man. Both cards aren't used. That's okay. Let's see, all right, what do we need? That was close. A little bit more on the early. We're going to go with two Youthful Brewmasters.
All right. And my last pick of the night, Deathwing.
You bastard. I didn't think you had it. I was actually considering him. You had Deathwing. All right, how are we doing? We are running early. Oh man, kind of feel like I want a random legendary here, but I don't have. I don't have what would be good. God, I can't do Tink. Can't do Merc.
Harrison Jones.
What are we missing? Card. Harrison would be awesome. I should do Gruul. Oh yeah, it has to be one that you have.
I have all the ones. I think I have all
Sylvanas. We'll throw in Sylvanas there in the end. All right.
Okay. Fair enough.
All right. I have no idea what deck I just made, but
neither do I. All right. May the best deck win, or if not, may the best man win. I'm going to switch back to the warm-up mode.
Oh my god.
These are two funny decks. I think the spirit of the warm-up got into us a little bit here.
Well, yeah, of course, man. You gotta once you join me in the spirit of the warm-up, then you know it kind of carries through. I'm glad you saw the fun.
Ugh.
Oh man, I don't have. Well, I guess I have decent early game. Coin. How dare you?
I got it. I'm gonna use it.
I do mind.
You do mind?
I always
mind if I roll me?
Bring me steel. Oh, he didn't bring any steel.
Where did it go? Where did the steel go?
He's got to hook himself up every once in a while. I mean, you think the Master Swordsmith could build himself a weapon from time to time, but
you think?
Oh god, 2 cards.
I gotta say that those early game cards have already worked out pretty well. That was a hell of a gamble right there.
That's pretty solid. That was a pretty solid play.
Yeah.
You must have had a good mulligan.
I got oh, that's funny. I got lucky. I really got lucky.
What? What is going on? I call BS right there. I'm calling shenanigans.
This game is fixed. The game is fixed.
This game is fixed.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's only a 4 or 5. It's only a Yeti. It's just a Yeti.
Not super scary.
Speaking of, I was going to draft Yetis. I don't know what happened to that plan. It just didn't work. It didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, wrong guy. Come on, Blood Imp. Get it over to the right. Get it over to the right.
Get it over to the right. Out of here. Get out of here, over to the right.
Ooh, what do you lose? A Rager? That's good for me. Ooh, another Rager. Well, hello.
Well, hello, Worgen. Nice to meet you. What do you got? Another Blood Knight? I know you've got another one there somewhere.
Yeah. I do.
Ooh, look at you. Are you gonna trade down? I
don't know. I have to.
2 for 1 plus the card? I'll take it.
I have to trade down.
You have another Squire? What's going on? Oh my god, you do have another Squire. It's supposed to be... That's right. Tastingo here. Oh god. Damn it! What is going on? This is not cool. Oh my god. What just happened? I just cleared this exact looking board.
Well, thankfully, Tarn, I cannot have this board again in this match.
Yeah, thank God. You know, it's just... Oh, God. Does that
You know, I've got a... there's a Twisting Nether in my deck I can lend you.
This is so painful. Okay, here... Jerk.
Oh, yes! Hellfire your own minions!
It's alright. We gotta cleanse the sun well.
I love it. And a buff. Oh, that was epic.
Gotta do it. Alright, are you sure you don't have any more Blood Knights and Argent Squires coming out on me? Jesus.
No, but I do have taunt minions with Divine Shield.
Oh, man. Oh, I could almost... I could whittle it down. This is ridiculous. Oh my God. I think we're gonna play. Look at this.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Camel. Look at all this.
God, I'm down to one card. Good thing we're playing Warlocks. I gotta start drawing cards.
Yeah.
Good thing I can get 2 cards per turn from here on out. Oh my God. What happened? Oh. You son of a- It's alright. It's alright, we got it. we got a minion. We're okay.
Why do you call?
Oh, I totally played that out of order. Oh well. Did not need to take damage on the Void Walker, but you know, it happens. We got it. We're okay. I think you're gonna Siphon Soul, man. I'm not looking forward to that. See, Siphon Soul costs what, 6 mana? Or 5 mana? 6 mana, I believe. You could still siphon and draw a card. That would be... Oh God, Giant. Thank God you don't have Defenders of Argus in there.
I know. It's getting down to it. You're not looking too bad.
You're doing okay. Doing okay. Oh my God. I could potentially... Oh, why do you have to have Divine Shield on that? I could do something so freaking good.
Nice.
I think I have to risk going for it. Oh my God. It could be awesome. Okay. We're gonna go for it. We're gonna go, as they say, YOLO.
YOLO.
Oh, it juggled! No, it juggled! I wanted it in between the big ones! Oh, well, not quite as YOLO, but... Oh, no! We didn't get the big one either.
Wow. That was a pretty sick move, dude.
I wanted to kill the 6/3. I wanted to make such a massive creature.
Dude, that is a sick, sick move.
It juggled, though. Oh, it's okay, good. You had the Siphon Soul no matter what, but... Oh, man. I probably should have saved it one turn. Save, got one swing off with Solanas, but I had to play it. I had to play it.
Yeah.
Oh, why couldn't it steal the Giant? I'm so disappointed.
Shit, you could have Leroy, and that could kill me. That'd be enough to kill me.
Yeah, at least I tried down the giant, but damn. But damn. I mean, I knew Siphon Soul was coming. Wait, what is this? No. Oh, God. My Divine Shield.
It's neck and neck, man. It's neck and neck.
Man.
That was a baller move, man, with Sylvanas. That was such a baller move.
It could have been so good.
No, it was great regardless. 50-50, it's a fantastic move, man.
It was fun. It was fun. I had fun with it.
Oh, I'm glad I got rid of that Divine Shield, else you would have
I know. It would have been so good had you not. It would have been fantastic. All right, I'm trying to think. You don't have Charge Burst. Oh God, please don't be a Doom Guard. Please don't be a Doom Guard. Please don't be a Doom Guard. Oh wait. Oh yeah, you do have Doom Guard. Okay. Oh, you suck. You have so many Doom Guards. What's going on?
So many Doom Guards. So many Doom Guards. I went YOLO myself. I got rid of my second Siphon Soul. Wow. Wow. Look at you. Look at you. That's so good. Man, that's like getting rid of that.
This sucks. I can't play these two cards. These cards. I have to play this. I have to.
I love it.
Oh my God. Which leaves it open to just being knifed. Are you kidding me? I have to play it in this order as a 4-1.
Nice.
I couldn't play this order because I just put it back in my hand. Damn it.
Okay, let's do this correctly.
Don't knife me. Don't knife me. Oh God. You've got so many cards.
Oh my God, you're out of demons. At least there are always 1/1 imps.
Oh, you got the 1/1. The 1/1 demon. Don't kill me, 1/1. Don't kill me, imp. Okay, good. You're my friend. Don't kill me, whatever card this is. No, not another one. Oh, Jesus. Oh, that's just mean.
Dude, what when you run out of demons, you get 1/1 worthless imps? I've never even heard of that before. That's so great.
You have it? It's cool. It's cool.
Oh, it's so great.
We got to go out in style.
Well, with only 5 cards in my deck, Tarn, I suppose I was out of demons.
Oh no, you're still gonna have it. Oh.
You can get rid of everything but one of the demons? One of the imps?
Let's see. Actually, let's see. 5. Yeah, you have it. Oh my God. You have it. Okay, well, since you do have it, we just gotta go out in style.
For sure, for sure. Nice. Very nice.
Gonna knife me. Oh, I was hoping the knife would actually hit me.
Okay. So let's see. Do I actually have it? Let's see.
What do you mean, do you actually have it?
Oh, right. I just have to do that. Right. Sorry. This is my draw, by the way.
Oh man. GG.
Well played, man. That was so much fun.
Ended up being.
Oh my God. I love these.
Segment. We were worried about the Warlock matchup, but I think we made it a fun one. Oh,
dude, I love the constructed draft. There's just no bad constructed draft. It's just so much fun.
Isn't? It's a lot of fun. It always, you always think, oh, well, I could build kind of a basic deck, but it just kind of makes you want to build something wacky, and I like it. Yep.
Every time we do this, I want to do another game. It's so great, but we'll have to save it for another time.
Yep, absolutely. I think it's been an awesome episode. It's been a long one, but I think that's only fitting. Our first episode back live. Absolutely. Kind of go a little extra bonus time here.
Yeah, we're into the bonus rounds, and we really hope you all enjoyed the show. Thank you guys for coming out. God bless and good night. No, I'm not Russell Simmons. No, thank you all for coming and watching on YouTube, on Twitch. We're here on Monday nights on Twitch at Kobayashi Maru. You can see it down on the bottom left-hand corner. And you can see us up on iHeartU and on my YouTube. All of those links are available for you there. Tarn is at Tarn33 on Twitch. He is streaming Hearthstone, Diablo, all sorts of fun stuff.
Absolutely. I'm finally back from being out of town, so for at least a couple weeks here, I will be pretty much up on a nightly basis. I will be up again tonight after, a few hours break for dinner and whatnot. But feel free to stop by, chat, hang out, say hello, and have some good time.
Yeah, and I stream as well weekly, usually Pacific time, 5:30 to 8:30 during the week, and on the weekends usually in the morning, 10, 11 a.m. start, and then, for a few hours. So please come by, check out my stream. If you're not following me on Twitter, that's where it updates everybody when I'm streaming. So thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. We're going to have a fun one next week as well. We'll probably do another Mulligan segment. Yeah, we're going to see how it all matches up, see if we get a special guest. But ultimately, we're going to keep it going like this. Maybe we'll get in some cooperative laddering. I'm really itching to do that. Tarn, I think it would be fun if we could do some cooperative laddering soon.
Absolutely. That's been another segment that we haven't done in a while, so I think that one's coming up on the books for us.
Absolutely. And more meta-less warm-ups. No more meta, just warming up and having fun.
Finally got him. I finally got him to stop playing these Watcher, Druid, Control, Warrior. You finally having a little fun. Maybe it's time to bring back the Pirates.
Yeah, Pirates are welcome to the party. It's been good. With all these segments that I've been developing, I finally had some time to step back and just make some fun decks. And, a lot of the production had been done previously, so I had some time. And I'm going to continue to do that. And with that, we'll see you guys next week. And anybody mind if I roll need?